What is up, everybody? It's your boy Lance back at it again with a new one. Wait a minute, this isn't One Punch Man, it's Counterside, everybody. So, back at it again with a new Counterside video. Wow! So, we're actually looking at this new game. Can say it's a new game, but it's not really a new game, and we're gonna know basically from my perspective what beginners should prioritize in this game. So this is basically a beginner guide for everybody to understand. So first things first, let's have a look at unit selection. So based on a few notable guides which I pulled from, namely from Volin as well as a few other YouTubers that have experience in the Korean server, your aims in this game should be between Kyle and Xiao. These are the two main units which will be used for a relative long term, whereas other units like Estarossa, Elizabeth, Chinatsu and Chifuyu are units that are applicable now but will be replaced by future units soon. But my take on this is that we don't know whether we'll be able to gacha. I mean, from my perspective, I'm going to be a small spender, mostly free to play in this game. So I don't know when the time comes when I need to replace these characters, whether I will be able to replace. So I think getting one of any of these units is fine for the time being, but do try to aim for Kyle or Xiao. I myself have Xiao Lin right here. So it's normal with this type of gacha / power scaling games. Most of these units will be outscaled in the future. I'm sure even Kyle will be replaced with a better DPS unit, but he's still usable because he has been maxed because he has a longer duration to be used. So most SSR units are viable. This is something that I've taken from the multiple guides. Most of them collectively agree that most SSR are viable, and it mostly depends on your synergy. So synergy wise, I've been testing for the past 2 or 3 days. That's why it's taken so long for me to do a beginner's guide, because I want to get a feel of the game before I give my advice. And the first thing that I can say that 100% a lot of people will agree with me when playing this game is waifu over meta. Just have fun, guys, it's a game. But if you want to be competitive, then definitely you need to take this team synergy with more seriousness. But if you're just here to have a good time, look at the waifu and their assets, then you're gonna really enjoy this game, my fellow men and women of culture. So, unlike One Punch Man, the SR and R units in this game, and even some N units, have quite strong uses. For example, the SR unit Ryan Ferrier is actually a top tier tank. You also have the Magus Evelyn, as well as Sylvia Cooper, which is a free unit that we get, which is a very good utility stunner and sniper unit. So don't be so stressed out if you don't have like a SSR tank or SSR sniper. It doesn't really matter. There are even R units that are very strong tankers. For example, in my lineup, I'm using Ivy Alfred. So if you can have a look at her skill, she swings a shield attacking a target. That's a basic attack. So basic attack forces the targets to attack her, so she has a taunt skill. Decrease surrounding strikers damage taken by 10%, so it synergizes very well with my Estarossa. And then she repeatedly strikes the ground with her shield, generates shockwaves, inflicting eerie damage. So she does both good support and good, or I would say decent damage. And overall, the other popular tank would be Cindy. So she restores her HP and via multiple sources from her passive, special, as well as her ultimate skill. So she's a very good, what is that term that a lot of people use? Sponge? She's a damage sponge. So there are definitely a lot of SR units that are more viable than SSR, because they're easier to train and they get the job done better compared to an untrained SSR. So regarding team building, I'll show you an example from my perspective, what I've been running after a few tests. So I'm running a 7-man team. Number one, because you have very limited energy in the round. So you want to run as efficient of a team as possible. Unfortunately, my team is not trained that well yet, because I haven't had the time to actually spend to train my units and all that. But you should be having around level 50 units of each of them. Of course, Iris and brother Ryan over here are much easier to train, as well as the two other SRs here, Sylvia and Mina. So you have a balance of resources. Unfortunately, I do not have the other SR healer known as Evelyn, but I do have Yang Harim. So this is the layering which I was talking about previously. So for PvE layering, what I've seen is usually a tank into a striker into a ranger. So it's something like this: tank, striker, and then a ranger, for example. And then you have another tank, and then you have double healer and an empty field slot. So I don't really have double healers, nor do I enjoy running double healers. So I run an interrupter sniper and a double snipe. So you can run this in any way that's possible, but I feel because my units are untrained, I tend to put my heavily trained units in front and then adjust accordingly. Of course, this game, synergy-wise, it allows you to have much more control over how your team functions. So just test around and figure out and get a feel of how you want to play this game. But so far, I've been having the most success running a team like this. So this is my usual normal setup. So this has gotten me the highest win percentage so far. Of course, you can argue that my team is not following the proper layering, but it really doesn't matter, guys. Just work out what works for you, because this is all about individuals understanding how to layer and all that. So I'm just here to provide you with a basis. So as I mentioned before, tank, striker, ranger, sniper, tank, healer, empty field. So you can actually see, I'll just put it here on the screen. So an alternative will be tank, ranger, healer, ranger, sniper, ranger, tower. So a lot of rangers, and of course the most notable being Kao Wong. So unfortunately, I have a lot of rangers, but I don't have them trained. So for now, I would say sticking to one team is the best, or at most two teams. Any more than that, I think you can slowly bring up your units. There is totally no rush, but I recommend no more than two teams for the time being, because efficiency's sake, unless you are around to train all your units all the time, or you have infinite battery life on your handphone, or you're playing from a PC and you can monitor it every now and then, I suggest two teams, more than enough. Now, the hardest and most valuable resource in the game, one would think it would be quartz, but it's actually gold. So why is gold so important? Well, number one, the first thing is that your gold is the main focal point for leveling up your units, so via salary negotiation. So if you do not have enough gold to actually raise up your units, it can be very troublesome. So the first thing you need to do when playing this game is prioritizing clearing stages, farming stages for gold. So that should be your number one priority, because even 2 million gold, which I have now, will be gone once I train up at most half of one unit. So get as much gold as possible and farm as often as possible to get as much gold. Now, there's a certain tip which I want to drop down, which I've collected, which is also regarding unit management. So we use the example with Xiaolin. So this is loyalty. So the loyalty system, employee gets 2% more stats upon reaching max loyalty. So you want to actually push up the loyalty of your main units, mostly because you want those extra 2% stats, because 2% stats actually mean a lot. It can mean the difference maker between victory and defeat. So do take note, for your main units, you kind of want to push their loyalty as fast as possible. The only way to do that is, as I said, with the salary negotiation. Also, some future tips which I'll be dropping down once it's updated, there's actually adjustments to the shops. Shopkeeper do be looking mighty fine today. So you can buy quite a lot of items here that if you need. At the moment, there's not really much to purchase here. I would say counter app core maybe is good because you might be lacking in those. But other than that, I wouldn't say to spend too much here. But we will have something called a summoning contract or summon currency, which will be released. When it's released with its actual logo, I will do another update video. And you can also purchase a lot of things here, but I do not recommend you purchase for the time being because number one is arguably quite expensive and there is no real need for you to buy it for the time being. And also regarding your daily activities or priorities, please make sure you do your supply operations as well as your simulations every day. You must do it as you get a lot of materials. It doesn't matter if you cannot do like level 30 or level 50, or just do whatever level is more than enough. And make sure you finish all of them. You must finish all of them. Like for me, I'm struggling with the defense training, to be honest. I cannot get past level 30. But it's okay, just get it done. You can fully auto it. You can just leave it AFK, go make coffee, go eat something. Not too big of a deal. And please check out this because I see a lot of people kind of miss this page. This is called the achievement page. So you get a lot of resources. Number one, you get summoning contracts, which is by far the most important thing I would say in the game. Gotta collect those waifus, guys. Secondly is the weekly mission. So if you finish the weekly missions, you get employment contracts, you get ports. So I highly suggest you take the time to actually try and finish this, probably in the beginning of the week. Try to finish them as soon as they come out so that you're not swamped to be trying to force yourself to actually complete the weekly missions last minute. Yeah. And then the last thing that I want to teach you guys is regarding your unit prioritization. So as I mentioned before, your blue and your purple units might be easier to train up. Number one, because I will show you a fine example. So we go to my management. So with Irie Alfred over here. Aigo! So you see, I have many dukes of her. Meanwhile, we'll change to someone like, let's see, Young Karim. So there's totally no options here. So I have to use what we call counter APT core. So this is actually damn bloody hard to get. You can get it from simulations, all that, but it's kind of a, I'd say, pain in the behind to get. Whereas for other units, for SSR units at least, I recommend if you are truly desperate to push them, then it's okay, but I wouldn't recommend pushing Yang Harim. Ka Wong, Xiao, Esterosa are the ones that I would highly recommend for you to push. There's actually a reference list which I refer to before considering limit breaking. I'll drop it down in the description of the video so you can have a look at which units to prioritize. And yeah, definitely go in for blue or purple units first. So for Irie Alfred, Cindy Looper, Ryan Ferrier, definitely those are the units which are good. I've also have some success with Benedict Constantine. Lin Xian is also a very good striker unit. In my opinion, she synergizes well with multiple team comps. Ju Xiun is also quite good and you get him for free as well. And basically try to limit break these units to as high as possible because they will actually carry you through quite a lot of the story mode as well as slightly in PvP. That's it for my analysis at the moment. I'm sorry that it's very brief and very watered down because I haven't been able to spend too much time in the game because I've been quite busy with my IRL stuff. I'm finding a job, etc. So I hope this guide has got some clarifications out for you, and I genuinely hope that you guys learn something new today. Regarding any updates or any recommendations for content you want me to push out, please drop it down in the comments below. If you want me to try a different game, want me to analyze a different game, let me know. Drop it down in the comments. Till we meet again, everybody.